Hi folks, thanks for watching my monologue. As you may have heard, there's been a recent run on guns and ammunition. I just wanted to let you know that Guns Etc. is in a 10,200 square foot building which holds a lot of guns. So Guns Etc. is open and has a lot of product. Or you can go to gunsetc.com, that's gunsetc.com, and if you like my monologue, please subscribe to our channel using 960 The Patriot. Well, welcome back and happy May 8th, 2020. This time of year brings a lot of things having to do with culture and politics. I actually think on the culture front, some of the most important things are the messages adults communicate to high school and college seniors in their commencement ceremonies, as we've been discussing all week. And I also think those are some of the messages where the political and non-political get confused. Too many who are political try to communicate life messages and advice ways that are political or in ways that allow their political views to interfere and confuse generally helpful non-political life and commencement advice. And yet, one of the reasons I think commencement addresses are so important is because I think our young adults need help today in ways they never have before. In truth, we all do, really. To that end, as many of you know, I do an annual on-air commencement speech, and here is this year's. Graduates, here are some life lessons I hope you'll take. Some from journalists, some from philosophers, some from political leaders, some from religious sources and leaders, some from scholars of other sorts, some from movies, some from lyricists, some from just ordinary, white, wise people. And before I begin any of it, let me first wish you congratulations on your achievement. A lot of people wish they could be where you are right now, so well done. Enjoy. First and foremost, enjoy. There will be plenty of times in life where things are not happy or joyful. This is not one of them. So savor your moment because you have earned it. Here we go. 1. The best line I ever heard in a commencement speech by someone else was Ted Koppel's. He told a Stanford class, apply a strong standard of morality to your lives, and if periodically you fail, as you surely will, adjust your life and not the standard. Which leads me to lesson number 2. I have never met a perfect person. Indeed, to many, the only perfect person died about 2,000 years ago. Do not put people on pedestals. Do not engage in hero worship. People will disappoint you. This includes parents, teachers, friends, spouses, politicians, favorite authors, and religious leaders, the person you may even admire the most. My friend Dennis Prager said something like this once: if you are not prepared to be disappointed in your friends, you're not prepared to have friends. There's a lot of wisdom there. Don't forget it. People will disappoint, and that's life. Because, 3, life can be hard from time to time, and the only person who makes no errors is the person who does not exist. The famous psychiatrist Carl Menninger put it this way: when a trout rising to a fly gets hooked and finds himself unable to swim about freely, he begins a fight, which results in struggles and splashes and sometimes an escape. In the same way, humans struggle with the hooks that catch the human. Sometimes he masters his difficulties, sometimes they are too much for him. The struggles are all the world sees, and it usually misunderstands them. It's hard for a free fish to understand what is happening to a hooked one until he is on the hook one day himself. 4. So try and be understanding of others' struggles. We all have them. That's a guarantee. Some we see, some we don't, but I guarantee you everyone has struggles and failures too. And often, by the way, those failures will lead to great successes. If you doubt this, just read the biographies of any great inventor or leader, from Thomas Edison to Steve Jobs, from Abraham Lincoln to Margaret Thatcher to Ronald Reagan. Failure is temporary, and it will happen. And usually it is simply the world's way, life's way, of clearing a path to a success you never dreamed of. God bless the broken road. This takes me to number 5. Try and take it easy on yourself. Today you are flying high. Tomorrow you may also be flying high, or you may not be. You may not have gotten the job you wanted, or you may have messed up the first task you were given in the new job you did want and that you did get. It's okay. It happens to everyone. I promise. A failure is never the end of the story or your story. And in time, I guarantee you will forget it, and so too will others. In fact, they may forget it faster than you. 6. Don't worry too much about what others think of you. Worry about what you think of you. Ann Landers got something very important and very right about this. If you worry too much about what others think or say about you, you will never move. You will be frozen and paralyzed. She put it this way: pay no attention to disparaging remarks. Remember, the person who carried the message may not be the most accurate reporter in the world, and things become twisted in their retelling. Live so that nobody will believe them. That last part bears repeating. If you are concerned about what others are thinking of you, live and comport your life in a way that is a living, walking, breathing disproof of negative comments or disparaging remarks by others. Live so that nobody will believe them. It's more important to see a sermon, after all, than to hear one. 7. Two things are very important: patience and authenticity. On authenticity, a famous Hasidic rabbi said the only question we will be asked when we die is not, why didn't we become more like this person or more like that person? We will be asked, why didn't you become you? On patience, I can only relay something I've heard a lot of leaders and successful people tell me over and over again. The greatest decisions they ever made were not decisions they thought were that important at the time, because the greatest things that ever happened to them could not have been planned or sometimes even dreamed. I know this to be true in my life. So just remember, as the Talmud puts it, the only testing ground of the heroic is the mundane. You will pass the test of big things only after you pass the test of small things. And treat every small thing, or what you think of as a small thing, as a big thing, because you will never know. I have a dear friend who puts it this way: whenever you have to face someone or something uncomfortable, ask yourself, what is my holy mission here? And just asking that question changes everything. So be patient, be good. Life has a way of working out if your internal compass is pointed true north, and often when you least expect it. 9. Be forgiving to yourself and others. Remember the Lord's Prayer. We ask forgiveness a lot, and we hope for it. We depend on it. We need it. How much more so should we be forgiving of others? I know how much I appreciate it when I'm forgiven for something. So the shoe should be on the other foot too. Be forgiving to others. 10. Francis of Assisi said a lot of beautiful things. Here's a sentence from him that is worth remembering. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted. That I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted. Here's why. 11. The best way to get out of your own head, to ease your own mind, to solve your own troubles, is to help another with his or her troubles. When you are in what you perceive to be dire straits, try to help someone else. Try to comfort someone else. You'll find a magical solution to your own troubles that way. You truly will. Again, it is more important to comfort than being comforted. And it's a good thing to do anyway. As 12, the Dalai Lama, maybe the happiest, most joyful man on earth, put it this way: our chief purpose in life is to help other people, and if you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. This from a man who is entitled to have a lot of resentments, watching his country being taken over and destroyed. And yet his philosophy in life is not about revenge, but about helping others, or at the very minimum, at least not hurting them. 13, be decent at all times. If there's a question as to what to do in a certain situation, difficult or not, ask yourself, what's the decent thing to do? It's a great word, decent, and it's too often forgotten. But when you think about how to implement that word, how to act on it, it's a word that almost always tells you what to do and how to do it. I know a few better self-defining words. 14, I don't remember where I heard this, but someone once said when there's a difficult or maddening or tense situation where you think you need to say something, put yourself through this tripartite test. Ask yourself, does something need to be said? Does something need to be said now? And does it need to be said by me? 15, another piece of advice for difficult or maddening situations. It's something Fred Rogers carried with him in his suit pocket. Calm is a language the blind can read and the deaf can hear. Be as calm as you can, as often as you can. 16, Jimmy Buffett has a song called That's What Living Is to Me. He has a line in there I've seen come true again and again and again. Live a lie and you will live to regret it. I can't convey how true that is. A lie will come out someday, and usually not in a way or time of your choosing. Live a lie and you will live to regret it. 17. Keep in mind this. People, especially young people, most often damage themselves with drugs or alcohol to change the way they feel, to feel normal, if you will, or to change their normal. Give them reasons not to need or perceive the need to change their normal. You do this by putting them at ease over whatever their situation is. We all have crosses to carry. Let them know theirs can be carried too. And it does not require a quick and damaging fix. That fix can be life-altering. Trust me, I've seen a lot of this. The first shot is always a choice. The second, and infinite many more, may not be. And too often, there's nothing after a second shot, or even a first. 18. When in doubt about how to deal with a difficult person, try and find a way to love that person, or at least see the child in them, or some redeeming quality. Most people have something redeeming about them, something worthy of love. I recently read a great line by Helen Keller on this. She said, "It is wonderful how much time good people spend fighting the devil. If they would only expend the same amount of energy loving their fellow men, the devil would die in his own tracks from boredom." If that's hard to remember, just ask my friend's question. What is my holy assignment here? 19. I don't know how to convey it as advice, but damn, it's smart. It's from an ad you hear on this station from my friend Chris Funk, who owns a great air conditioning company, and it's this. We have found it's easier to teach a good person air conditioning than it is to teach a good technician to be a good person. If you wanted to know all of Aristotle in one sentence, there it is. Technicians are plentiful. Good people, well, you tell me. 20. It cannot be escaped that today is VE Day. That on this day, 75 years ago, Germany surrendered to the Allies, to us, in World War II. Hell of a thing, that. Some didn't want to fight Hitler. Some thought Hitler was right, and he would have blown out all the moral lights, but for the United States. We should celebrate and be proud of that. We saved the world. And I must read this old letter from a survivor of one of Hitler's concentration camps that she gave to teachers every year, years ago, courtesy of a reprint from a child psychologist named Haim Ginott. Maybe it has some resonance for today, too. She wrote, "I am a survivor of a concentration camp. My eyes saw what no person should witness. Gas chambers built by learned engineers, children poisoned by educated physicians, infants killed by trained nurses, women and babies shot by high school and college graduates. So forgive me, but I am suspicious of education. My request is this: help your children become human. Your efforts must never produce learned monsters, skilled psychopaths, or educated Eichmanns. Reading, writing, and arithmetic are important only if they serve to make our children more human." Of all the quotes I read in a given year, or I read in a given year, that one is the most requested for repetition. I hope it means something to and for you just now. 21, the last thing I'll say, it's perhaps my favorite line ever. It's from the late education professor Leo Buscaglia, whose specialty was those with special needs. It's something I've always loved, and I'll close with it. "Only the weak are cruel. Gentleness can only be expected from the strong." Now, one final and important note as I close. Maybe something I've said today will resonate with you. Maybe not, but it's advice I love. And I fail each piece of it daily. To come back to where I started, people simply aren't perfect. Now go forward with your new beginning, and remember, class is not over. You still have a holy assignment. In fact, you have a lot of them. Go find them. And more importantly, make sure and recognize them when they find you. I'm Seth Leibson. God bless.